Walk through any boatyard and you'll see it. 40-year-old trawlers still going strong, sitting right next to 10-year-old boats already falling apart. It's not an accident. The old ones were built with features that made them almost impossible to kill. Thick, solid hulls, full keels, simple engines, real bronze and real wood. The kind of things today's builders quietly dropped because they cost too much to put in. By the end of this video, you'll know 7 old trawlers that still have every one of those features, so you can buy a boat that outlives anything new on the market. And number 1 might be the toughest production trawler ever built. Here's something the boat salesman won't tell you. A new boat and a 40-year-old trawler can sit at the same dock and look like they're from 2 different planets, not in how they look, but in how they're built. Back in the 70s and 80s, builders didn't know how to cut corners yet, and labor and materials were cheap, so they just overbuilt everything. Hulls were laid up thick and solid by hand. Keels were deep and filled with ballast. Engines were simple enough to fix with a wrench. Hardware was heavy bronze instead of cheap plastic. None of that was special at the time. It was just how boats were made. But today, every one of those features costs serious money. So modern builders engineer them out to hit a price and to make the boat lighter and faster. The result? New boats that look incredible and age terribly. So in this countdown, I'm going to show you 7 trawlers that still carry those lost features. And for each one, I'll point out exactly what to look for, so you can spot a truly unbreakable boat the moment you step aboard. Starting at number 7. Number 7, the CHB 34. Let's start with the most basic lost feature of all, a hull that's simply overbuilt. CHB trawlers came out of Taiwan in big numbers, and back then, the yards didn't optimize their fiberglass to shave weight and save money the way modern builders obsess over. They just poured it on. The result is a hull that's thick, heavy, and almost absurdly solid by today's standards. The kind of layup that shrugs off a hard grounding and keeps going. A modern builder would never lay up a hull this heavy, because weight is the enemy of speed and fuel economy, and every extra pound of glass costs money. But that same heaviness is exactly why these 40-year-old boats are still floating and still solid. Here's what to look for when you step aboard one. Knock around the hull and listen for a deep, dull, solid sound rather than a thin echo, and have a surveyor check the layup thickness. Because the CHB isn't fancy, the finish and wiring can be rough, and you should survey it hard. But underneath it all is a hull built like nobody builds anymore. For the money, it's one of the toughest entry points into this whole world. The next boat keeps that solid hull and adds a feature you literally cannot buy new today. Number 6, the Marine Trader 44. Step inside one of these and the lost feature hits you immediately. Real, solid teak everywhere. The cabinetry, the trim, the soles, the handrails, all genuine hardwood, cut thick and built to last generations. Now compare that to a modern boat, where what looks like wood is almost always a paper-thin veneer over particle board, the kind of thing that swells, peels, and delaminates the first time it gets damp. You simply cannot buy this much solid teak in a new boat anymore, because the wood alone would cost a fortune and the labor to fit it would cost even more. On the Marine Trader 44, that woodwork has already survived 40 years, and with basic care, it'll survive 40 more. Underneath that interior is the same thick, heavy laminate as the smaller models, so you're getting the solid hull and the irreplaceable joinery together. What to look for? Solid teak feels and sounds different from veneer. Tap it, look at the edges and end grain, and check around windows and deck fittings for any water staining in the wood, which tells you whether the boat was kept dry. Find a well-cared-for 44 and you've got a live aboard with craftsmanship the industry abandoned decades ago. The next boat's lost feature is hidden below the floorboards. Number 5, the Albin 43. Lift the floorboards on this one and you'll find a lost feature that every mechanic and every hands-on owner dreams about. An engine room you can actually stand up and work in. The Albin 43 was built with a real walk-in engine space with room to get around the motor, reach every filter and hose, and actually maintain the boat instead of fighting it. Modern boats almost never give you this because that space is wasted volume that could be another cabin or a bigger salon. So today's engines get crammed into a cramped box you can barely reach into. And it gets better because in that roomy engine room usually sits the second half of the feature, a single, simple, naturally aspirated diesel. No complex electronics, no high-pressure common rail systems that need a computer to diagnose, just a slow-turning, reliable engine an owner can understand and service themselves. That combination, easy access plus a simple engine, is what keeps a boat running for decades instead of becoming a repair nightmare. What to look for? Climb down into the engine room before you buy and ask yourself honestly, can you reach everything? Check the engine hours and service records and favor the original simple diesel over a boat that's been repowered with something complicated. The next boat's lost feature is what keeps it safe when the water turns ugly. Number 4, the Willard 40. The lost feature here is underwater, and it's a big one. A deep, full keel with the ballast built right into it. Look at the bottom of a modern powerboat, and you'll usually see a shallow, flat hull with the propeller and rudder hanging down exposed, all built for speed and calm water. Now, look at the bottom of a Willard, a long, deep keel that runs most of the length of the boat with heavy ballast molded inside it. That single feature does 3 things at once. It drops the center of gravity low, so the boat stays steady and doesn't get tossed around when the sea builds. It makes the boat track straight and see kindly instead of skittish. And it protects the running gear. Run aground. And the keel takes the hit instead of your propeller and rudder. Modern builders drop the full keel because it adds weight and slows the boat down. But that keel is exactly why a Willard rides out weather that has lighter boats running for shelter. What to look for? When the boat's hauled out, look at how deep and how long that keel runs, and check that the ballast is sound with no cracking where the keel meets the hull. This is a boat built to keep you safe, not to win a race. The next one shows the lost feature in the details most people never even think about. Number 3, the Grand Banks 42. This one's lost feature is in the details, the kind of stuff you don't notice until you understand it, and then you can't unsee it. On an old Grand Banks, everything that matters is heavy bronze and oversized. The seacocks, the through hulls, the cleats, the hardware. Bronze doesn't corrode and crack the way the cheap plastic and thin metal fittings on many modern boats do. Those plastic through hulls and undersized fittings are exactly the kind of thing that fails quietly and sinks boats at the dock. And the deck hardware on a Grand Banks is bolted down through solid backing plates, not just screwed into a thin deck, so the cleats and rails won't tear out under load. None of this is glamorous, and that's the point. Modern builders cut these corners precisely because buyers don't notice them on a sea trial. But these are the parts that keep water on the outside of the boat and keep you attached to the dock in a storm. What to look for? Open the lockers, look at the seacocks and through hulls. Bronze that works smoothly is a great sign. And check that cleats and rails are through bolted with backing plates, not just screwed down. The Grand Banks 42 is built from 1,000 of these small, right decisions. The next boat's lost feature is the one that lets it cross oceans. Number 2, the Kadey-Krogen 42. The lost feature here is range. This boat was built to cross oceans, not to potter around the marina for the weekend. The Krogen carries enormous fuel tankage and pairs it with an efficient full displacement hull, which together give it the ability to travel thousands of miles without stopping. Most modern production boats are designed for short hops and quick weekends, so they carry just enough fuel to get to the next marina and back. Because big tanks and a long-range hull cost weight, space, and money that today's buyers won't pay for. But that range is real freedom. It means you can actually go places, far places under your own power. And the Krogen pairs it with that famous kindly motion, a slow, gentle, predictable roll that keeps the crew comfortable and safe when the water gets rough, instead of beating them up. Range plus sea kindliness is what turns a boat from a toy into a true passage maker. What to look for? check the fuel capacity, and do the math on the real-world range. And if you can, talk to owners about how the boat handles in a seaway. The Krogen 42 was built for the kind of adventure most boats can only pretend to offer, which brings us to number 1. The boat that has every single lost feature all at once. Number 1. The Nordhavn 46. This is number 1 because it doesn't have just one lost feature. It has all of them, built to the highest standard of anything on this list. Start with the hull. A thick, solid, hand-laid fiberglass layup with the kind of structural integrity that makes it more small ship than pleasure boat. Add a deep keel, watertight compartments so a problem in one part of the boat can't sink the whole thing, massive fuel range for crossing oceans, a simple, reliable power plant, heavy-duty hardware, and an engine room built for real maintenance. Every single feature we've talked about in this video, the solid hull, the full keel, the range, the toughness, the access, Nordhavn put all of it into one boat and then overbuilt it even further. That's why the 46 has a documented history of crossing oceans and circling the globe, and why it holds its value better than almost anything that floats. This is what a boat looks like when the builder refuses to compromise on a single one of the features the rest of the industry abandoned. You pay for that, no question, but what you're buying is the most complete expression of built to last forever in the entire trawler world. What to look for? Honestly, with a Nordhavn, the question isn't whether it was built right, it's whether it was maintained right. So get the full service history and a top survey and buy the one that was loved, because a well-kept Nordhavn 46 isn't just unbreakable, it's the boat every other boat on this list is trying to be. So there they are. 7 old trawlers still carrying the features that the rest of the industry quietly threw away. And if you remember nothing else, remember this: when you're looking at a boat, don't just look at how it shines, look at how it's built. The thick, solid hull, the full keel, the real wood and bronze, the simple engine, the room to work. Those are the things that decide whether a boat lasts 50 years or falls apart in 15. New and shiny fools a lot of people. Old and overbuilt is what brings you home decade after decade. Now, knowing what makes a trawler tough is one thing, but you also need to know which ones one person can actually handle alone, especially as we get older. So I made a whole video on the safest trawlers a single person can run by themselves. It's right here, and it's the perfect next watch. And if you want more straight talk like this, subscribe, because the boat that changes everything for you might be in the next video. I'll see you there.